everyone, all in Arrowhead here. Week 9 delivered plenty of drama across the NFL. A mix of statement wins, close calls, and some unexpected collapses that shook up the standings. Some of my picks hit the mark as expected, while a few others didn't quite go as planned, highlighting just how unpredictable this league can be. The Rams impressed with a dominant offensive showing against the Saints, featuring sharp passing from Matthew Stafford and key contributions from Puka Nacua, while the 49ers were able to find offensive rhythm with Christian McCaffrey leading the way and some big plays from their skill players. The Jaguars eked out a thrilling overtime victory against the Raiders, and the Vikings fought hard to hold off a resilient Lions squad, showing that games can turn on defense, special teams, or a clutch fourth-quarter drive. Meanwhile, the Packers and Panthers provided more nail-biting moments, emphasizing that no lead is ever truly safe. With the Bengals, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Titans all on bye this week, several teams have a chance to climb in the standings or solidify playoff positioning, making Week 10 matchups even more critical. Each game promises high-stakes competition, breakout performances, and pivotal moments that can define the path forward for multiple teams across both conferences, and I'm eager to see how my picks hold up in these key matchups. Let's get into the games! The Raiders enter Week 10 coming off a gut-wrenching 30-29 overtime loss to the Jaguars, where quarterback Geno Smith completed 29 of 39 passes for 284 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Tight end Brock Bowers hauled in a 27-yard touchdown late in regulation, yet the Raiders couldn't seal the game, allowing Jacksonville to tie it with a 48-yard field goal in the final seconds and win in overtime. Las Vegas managed only 331 yards of offense compared to Jacksonville's 367, and their defense allowed several key explosive plays, including a quarterback rush by Trevor Lawrence that put the Jaguars ahead just before the fourth quarter. On the other side, the Broncos arrived with significant momentum after an 18-15 comeback win over the Texans, where quarterback Bo Nix threw for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 27-yard strike to R.J. Harvey, and then scrambled 25 yards in the final minute to set up Will Lutz's 34-yard game-winning field goal. Denver's defense locked down Houston in the second half, holding them to just 72 yards and forcing several punts. The contrast is striking. Las Vegas still continues to struggle in late-game execution and red zone efficiency, while Denver has shown poise, discipline, and clutch playmaking, plus a defense that bends but doesn't break. With the Raiders' inconsistency and the Broncos' growing confidence and winning streak, I'm picking the Broncos to win, improving to 8-2, while the Raiders drop to 2-7. The Falcons entered this matchup after a narrow 24-23 loss to the Patriots, a game that highlighted both their offensive potential and lingering inefficiencies. Michael Penix Jr. led the way, throwing for 221 yards and 3 touchdowns, while connecting with Drake London for 118 receiving yards and all 3 scores, but Atlanta's inability to sustain drives in critical moments and a missed extra point ultimately cost them the game. The rushing attack remained inconsistent, failing to establish momentum or keep the Patriots' front 7 honest, while the Falcons' defensive unit struggled to contain New England's passing game on late drives and gave up key third-down conversions. On the other side, the Colts came off a 27-20 loss at Pittsburgh that exposed cracks in both protection and ball security, with Daniel Jones taking 5 sacks and committing 6 turnovers, including multiple fumbles and an interception at a pivotal point in the second half. Despite these setbacks, Indianapolis' offense still flashed explosive potential, particularly in the passing game, and the team's front 7 defenders can impose a physical, controlling presence if they limit mistakes. Heading into this Week 10 clash in Berlin, the Colts' depth and ability to capitalize on Atlanta's inconsistencies give them a slight edge, while the Falcons must find a way to execute in the red zone and stabilize their defense to stay competitive. I'm picking the Colts to win and improve to 8-2, while the Falcons drop to 3-6. The Cleveland Browns enter Week 10 looking to regroup after a deflating 32-13 loss to the Patriots, where Dillon Gabriel showed flashes of potential but couldn't overcome constant pressure, finishing with just over 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The offensive line struggled to protect him, and the running game never established momentum, as their leading rusher was former Jets receiver Malachi Corley. Despite a few solid early drives, the Browns couldn't capitalize in the red zone, settling for field goals while their defense faltered against Drake May's precision and poise. Meanwhile, the New York Jets head into this matchup fresh off a thrilling 39-38 win over the Bengals that snapped their losing streak. Justin Fields was dynamic, throwing for nearly 250 yards and 1 touchdown, showcasing improved command of the offense. Breece Hall was the heartbeat of the attack, erupting for 133 rushing yards and 2 total touchdowns, including a trick play pass to Mason Taylor that stunned the Cincinnati defense. Joe Flacco nearly engineered a comeback for the Bengals with over 400 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, but the Jets' defense stood tall when it mattered most, forcing a late turnover to seal the win. Both teams will be coming off a bye with extra rest and preparation, but Cleveland's more balanced roster and defensive front give them the edge. I'm taking the Browns to bounce back strong, improving to 3-6, while the Jets fall to 1-8. The New Orleans Saints head into Week 10 reeling after a sloppy 34-10 loss to the Los Angeles Rams last week, where Matthew Stafford carved them up with 281 passing yards and 4 touchdown passes, including 2 to Davante Adams, and the Rams held the ball for nearly 10 minutes on an 80-yard drive in the third quarter that crushed New Orleans' momentum. The Saints' rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck threw for just 176 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception, while the offense ran only 40 plays compared to the Rams' 77, highlighting a lack of tempo and play execution. On the flip side, the Carolina Panthers come into this game off a gritty 16-13 win over the Green Bay Packers, powered by Rico Dowdle's 130 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, and capped by rookie kicker Ryan Fitzgerald's 49-yard walk-off field goal, while Green Bay managed 273 passing yards from Jordan Love, but threw an interception and failed to convert in the red zone. The Panthers showed balance on offense and resilience in the clutch, while the Saints' offense looked stagnant and their defense couldn't clamp down when it mattered. With New Orleans' confidence shaken and Carolina riding momentum, I'm picking the Panthers to win this one and improve to 6-4, while the Saints drop to 1-9. The New England Patriots head into Week 10 coming off a gritty 24-23 win over the Atlanta Falcons, where quarterback Drake May threw for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, connecting multiple times with Demario Douglas, who erupted for 100 receiving yards and a score. New England's running game struggled to find consistent traction, but their offensive line gave enough protection on key drives to allow the team to capitalize in the red zone. The Patriots' defense played a major role in the victory, forcing a critical turnover late in the game and making several stops on third downs, while a missed extra point by Atlanta ultimately decided the outcome. On the other side, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dominated the Saints 23-3 behind a suffocating defense that recorded 4 takeaways, including 2 interceptions, one of which returned for a touchdown by Anthony Nelson, while limiting New Orleans to under 200 total yards. Tampa Bay's offense managed the game efficiently, avoiding costly mistakes and sustaining drives long enough to control the clock. Both teams arrive in Week 10 with momentum, but New England still has questions about finishing drives and protecting the football under pressure, while Tampa Bay's defense is playing at a high level and their offense is trending upward. I'm picking the Buccaneers to win and improve to 7-2, while the Patriots fall to 7-3. The Baltimore Ravens come into Week 10 after a dominant 28-6 victory over the Dolphins, with Lamar Jackson completing 18 of 23 passes for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns, while distributing the ball effectively to Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely. Baltimore's rushing attack complemented the passing game well, and the defense was the story of the day, holding Miami to just 87 rushing yards, forcing multiple 3-and-outs, and creating 2 turnovers that led to short field scoring opportunities. On the other side, the Minnesota Vikings eked out a 27-24 win over the Lions behind a balanced and productive backfield featuring Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, who combined for big gains and crucial third down conversions, while quarterback J.J. McCarthy returned from injury to throw for 143 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Minnesota's defense created several key stops, including forcing turnovers in critical situations, though Detroit's offense managed a few explosive plays to keep the contest close. Both teams entered this matchup with momentum, but Minnesota's combination of a strong rushing attack, complementary passing, and opportunistic defense may give them a slight edge, though Baltimore's efficient offensive execution and playmaking skill keep them very much in the mix. I'm leaning towards the Vikings to win and improve to 5-4, while the Ravens fall to 3-6. The Buffalo Bills head into Week 10 riding strong momentum after defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 28-21 in Week 9, a game in which Josh Allen connected on 23 of 26 passes for 273 yards and a touchdown, while James Cook carried the ball 27 times for 114 yards to anchor a balanced offensive attack. Buffalo's receivers, led by Dalton Kincaid with 6 catches for 101 yards, provided consistent targets, and the team's offensive line kept Allen largely clean despite the Chiefs' pressure. Buffalo's defense came through with a key interception that sealed the game, limited Kansas City's rushing attack to just 79 yards, and stuffed the red zone Chiefs to force 3 field goals. On the flip side, the Miami Dolphins are reeling after a 28-6 loss to the Baltimore Ravens, where Tua Tagovailoa completed 25 of 40 for 261 yards, but threw 1 interception and failed to record a touchdown, while Miami went 0 for 3 in red zone attempts and turned the ball over twice. Miami's offense showed flashes. Devon Achane managed 67 rushing yards on 14 carries and added 6 receptions for 39 yards, but the unit repeatedly stalled, and the defense allowed Lamar Jackson to orchestrate long drives and complete 4 touchdown passes in the first half alone. Special teams also struggled as Miami missed a field goal and had 1 kickoff return stopped inside the 20-yard line, compounding their field position woes. With Buffalo firing on both sides of the ball, displaying efficiency in passing, rushing, and red zone execution, and Miami still grappling with turnovers, execution, and defensive lapses, the edge is clearly with Buffalo in this matchup. I'm picking the Bills to win and improve to 7-2, while the Dolphins drop to 2-8. The New York Giants head into Week 10 after a 34-24 loss to the 49ers, where rookie quarterback Jackson Dart completed 24 of 33 passes for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns, while adding 56 rushing yards and a rushing score. But the offense stalled in the second half and failed to sustain long drives, limiting opportunities to mount a comeback. The Giants' defense struggled to contain Christian McCaffrey, who had 106 rushing yards and 67 receiving yards with both a rushing and receiving touchdown, breaking the NFL record for most games with a rushing and receiving TD, while also giving up multiple explosive plays that shifted momentum. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears emerged from a 47-42 thriller over the Bengals, with quarterback Caleb Williams leading a dramatic game-winning drive, connecting with rookie tight end Colston Loveland for a 58-yard touchdown with 25 seconds left, and the defense forcing a late turnover to secure the win. Chicago's offense demonstrated explosive potential with multiple big play connections, though the defense continued to allow significant yardage and points, highlighting a need for more consistent containment. Considering the Giants' struggles to maintain drives and prevent explosive plays against the Bears' offensive firepower and poise in clutch situations, I am leaning towards Chicago to take the win and improve to 6-3, while the Giants fall to 2-8. The Jacksonville Jaguars enter Week 10 riding momentum after a thrilling 30-29 overtime victory against the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 9. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence completed 23 of 34 passes for 220 yards and an interception, connecting with Parker Washington for 8 catches totaling 90 yards, while Travis Etienne contributed 84 rushing yards, showcasing the Jaguars' balanced offensive attack. Kicker Cam Little made a record 68-yard field goal at the end of the first half, and the Jaguars' defense forced 2 turnovers, including a critical interception late in the fourth quarter that set up the game-tying drive. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans are reeling after an 18-15 loss to the Denver Broncos, struggling to score in the red zone and going 0 for 3 on red zone opportunities. Quarterback C.J. Stroud completed 6 of 10 passes for 79 yards before being concussed, and eventually replaced with Davis Mills, who completed 17 of 30 for 147 yards, but faced consistent pressure from the Broncos' defensive front. Running back Nick Chubb added 34 yards but could not break through for a touchdown. Houston's defense allowed 273 total yards and failed to generate a consistent pass rush or force turnovers, leaving the team vulnerable in critical situations. With Jacksonville's demonstrated ability to execute in high-pressure moments and Houston's ongoing issues with finishing drives and creating defensive stops, the Jaguars enter this matchup with a clear advantage. I'm picking Jacksonville to win, moving to 6-3, while Houston drops to 3-6. The Arizona Cardinals enter their Week 10 showdown riding momentum after a solid 27-17 road win against the Cowboys, where backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett completed 21 of 31 passes for 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offense showed flashes of balance. Marvin Harrison Jr. led the team in receiving with 7 catches for 96 yards and a key touchdown, while Amari DiMercado chipped in on the ground with 79 yards rushing. Arizona's defense, meanwhile, allowed 123 rushing yards, but redeemed themselves by recording 5 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. On the opposite side, the Seattle Seahawks come in riding a dominant 38-14 victory over Washington, where Sam Darnold completed 21 of 24 passes for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns, with Jackson Smith-Njigba hauling in 8 catches for 129 yards. The Seahawks' offensive line gave Darnold 0 sacks. The receivers produced explosive plays, and the defense kept Washington in check by holding them to 153 passing yards. With Seattle's high-octane attack and impressive consistency on both sides of the ball, they clearly enter this matchup as the more complete unit. Arizona still has dynamic talent and the ability to surprise, but unless they shore up their red zone offense and get more from their front 7, the task will be steep. I'm picking the Seahawks to win and improve to 7-2, while the Cardinals drop to 3-6. The Lions head into Week 10 looking to rebound after a frustrating 27-24 loss to the Vikings, where Jared Goff completed 25 of 37 passes for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns, but couldn't finish off a potential game-tying drive late. Amon-Ra St. Brown once again looked like a true number 1 receiver, hauling in over 100 yards, while Jahmyr Gibbs added solid production on the ground. Yet despite their offensive flashes, Detroit's defense faltered late, giving up too many key third-down conversions and failing to contain Justin Jefferson in crunch time. The Commanders, meanwhile, are coming off a demoralizing 38-14 loss to the Seahawks, where Jaden Daniels threw for 226 yards, but was under constant pressure behind an offensive line that struggled to keep him upright. The run game never found rhythm, and the defense had no answer for Seattle's explosive passing attack, giving up multiple scores through the air and struggling with tackling all night. With Detroit's defense still clicking despite the loss and Washington continuing to battle inconsistency on both sides of the ball, I'm picking the Lions to bounce back and move to 6-3, while the Commanders drop to 3-7 as their mid-season struggles persist. The Los Angeles Rams head into Week 10 riding high after a commanding 34-10 dismantling of the New Orleans Saints, where veteran QB Matthew Stafford completed 24 of 32 passes for 281 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Puka Nacua hauled in 7 receptions for 95 yards and a score, and Kyren Williams added 114 rushing yards and a touchdown in a show of balanced offensive dominance. The Rams' defense held New Orleans to just 224 total yards and controlled possession with 77 offensive plays versus the Saints' 40, underscoring their overall efficiency and strength. On the other side, the San Francisco 49ers are also riding momentum after a 34-24 victory over the New York Giants, where QB Mac Jones completed 19 of 24 passes for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Christian McCaffrey exploded for 106 rushing yards and 67 receiving yards, scoring both on the ground and through the air. While San Francisco's offense looked sharp and balanced, their run defense surrendered 117 rushing yards and allowed some late-game momentum swings as the Giants pushed late. In this matchup, both teams are elite offensively and defensively, but given the Rams' recent dominance and the 49ers' slight defensive vulnerability, I'm picking the Rams to win this one and improve to 7-2, while the 49ers fall to 6-4. The Steelers head into Week 10 off a dramatic 27-20 win over the Colts, where veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers showcased his poise, completing 25 of 35 passes for 203 yards and a touchdown, while running back Jaylen Warren powered the ground attack with 2 crucial touchdowns. However, the standout story was Pittsburgh's relentless defense, which forced 6 turnovers, including 2 strip sacks by TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, and recorded 5 sacks on Daniel Jones, who threw for 342 yards but was hampered by 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. The Steelers' defensive pressure and ability to capitalize on mistakes proved decisive, giving them control in key moments. Meanwhile, the Chargers arrived after a resilient 27-20 win over the Titans, where Justin Herbert rebounded from an early pick-6 to throw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also contributed a rushing score, while Los Angeles' defense limited Tennessee to just 206 total yards and forced 2 late turnovers to secure the win. Both teams showed flashes of brilliance, but issues remain. Pittsburgh needs to maintain offensive consistency against a strong pass rush, while the Chargers must shore up red zone efficiency and limit costly turnovers. With the Steelers' momentum and defensive dominance, I'm leaning Steelers in this matchup to improve to 6-3, while the Chargers fall to 6-4, setting up a compelling clash of Pittsburgh's turnover-hungry defense versus Los Angeles' explosive offense. The Eagles come into Week 10 riding high after a dominant 38-20 win over the Giants in Week 8, where Jalen Hurts threw 4 touchdown passes, including 2 to Dallas Goedert, and Philadelphia's ground game exploded for 276 yards, showcasing a balanced and relentless attack. Saquon Barkley carried 14 times for 150 yards and a touchdown, while Tank Bigsby added 104 rushing yards, helping the Eagles control the clock and wear down the Giants' defense. Their offensive line opened lanes consistently, allowing Hurts time to make accurate throws and giving the running backs room to break big plays, while the defense forced 3 turnovers, including 2 interceptions, which kept the Giants from mounting any serious comeback. On the other side, the Packers arrive after a narrow 16-13 loss to the Panthers in Week 9, where Jordan Love passed for 273 yards but threw an interception, and the team struggled to capitalize in the red zone, going scoreless on 4 opportunities inside the 20. Rico Dowdle led the Panthers' rushing attack with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns against Green Bay's defense, exposing vulnerabilities up the middle and highlighting the Packers' difficulty in stopping explosive plays. The Eagles' offensive balance, explosive rushing attack, and opportunistic defense give them a clear edge over a Packers team that has struggled to finish drives and limit big plays, particularly against top-tier rushing attacks. Considering the Eagles' recent dominance, their ability to control time of possession, and their capacity to create turnovers, I am picking the Eagles to win, improving their record to 7-2, while the Packers drop to 5-3-1.